In the ancient city of Qiantang, now known as Hangzhou, there lived a woman whose story still whispers through the willows along the West Lake. Her name was Su Xiaoxiao. She wasn't just another courtesan praised for her beauty. She was a legend, celebrated for her sharp wit, her soul-stirring poetry, and a spirit as free as the mists that blurred the horizon. Her home was a small, elegant pavilion by the lake, a place where art and nature became one. She was a vision of grace, with long, flowing black hair that mirrored the midnight sky, and a youth that seemed as timeless as the lake itself. Many wealthy and powerful men, dressed in silks and dripping with gold, would travel from afar just to catch a glimpse of her. They would send lavish gifts and write passionate letters, all hoping to win her favor. But Su Xiaoxiao remained unmoved. She saw through their riches to the emptiness within. Her heart was a fortress, and its gates were closed to those who sought to possess her beauty without understanding her soul. She would often sit in her painted boat, her fingers trailing in the cool water, watching the world go by, waiting for a connection that went deeper than worldly possessions. She yearned for a kindred spirit, someone who could see the poet behind the pretty face, the philosopher behind the performer. She believed in a love that was not about ownership, but about a meeting of minds, a shared appreciation for the transient beauty of a blooming lotus, or the profound sadness in a single line of verse. To her, companionship was an art form, and she was waiting for a true artist to appreciate her masterpiece of a mind. And so, she continued to politely refuse every suitor, keeping her world serene and her heart untouched, until a fateful day by the water's edge. One crisp autumn afternoon, as golden leaves danced on the breeze, Su Xiaoxiao was enjoying the quiet solitude of the lake. Her gaze fell upon a young man, a scholar, whose simple robes were worn but clean. He was pacing by the shore, lost in his own world, reciting verses to the rippling water. There was no audience, no one to impress. His words were pure, born from a heart full of passion and a mind full of dreams. He was poor in coin, but rich in spirit, and his sincerity shone brighter than any jewel. He was also young, with dark hair that fell across his brow as he looked out at the vast, misty lake. Intrigued and deeply moved, Su Xiaoxiao felt a pull she had never experienced before. This was not a man seeking her for her fame or her face. This was a man who spoke the same language her soul understood, the language of poetry. Acting on an impulse that felt more like destiny, she guided her small, painted boat towards the shore. With a gentle voice that carried across the water, she called out to him, inviting him aboard. The young scholar, startled from his reverie, looked up and saw her. For a moment, he was speechless, captivated not just by her beauty, but by the genuine kindness in her eyes. As he hesitantly stepped onto her boat, the world around them seemed to fade away. The gentle rocking of the boat was the only rhythm, the soft lapping of the water, the only music. They didn't speak of wealth or status. Instead, they spoke of the poets of old, of the soaring ambition in their hearts, and of the vast, beautiful world that lay just beyond their reach. Su Xiaoxiao shared her verses, and he shared his. In his eyes, she saw no lust, only admiration. He listened to her words, not just her voice. For the first time, Su Xiaoxiao had met a man who valued the treasures of her mind as much as the beauty of her form. A fragile, beautiful connection began to bloom between them, as delicate and precious as a spring blossom. But fate is often cruel to those who love too deeply. and happiness can be as fleeting as a cherry blossom in the wind. Their hearts had only just found each other. Their souls had only just begun to dance together when the threads of destiny began to twist, pulling them in opposite directions. A storm was gathering on the horizon of their newfound joy, threatening to tear apart the very world they had started to build. What trials awaited them? What cruel hand of fate would intervene in their story? The chapter had just begun, but a painful turn was already upon them. What happens next to Su Xiaoxiao and the poor scholar? We'll have to wait for the next part to find out.